Hey guys, so today marks year number 6 of my school. I opened it 6 years ago to the day, so it's kind of a cool thing. Um, Interesting to look back on. It's amazing how time passes and how things kind of come together based on your initial kind of impetus or target. Um, but I've really been thinking about how focusing on a certain target or a certain destination can really change the results. I mean, it's pretty obvious, if your main goal in life is to get blasted every night, and you just go home and start drinking or whatever. That's pretty easily attained and pretty immediately rewarding, but obviously it tends to affect your health. If it's something else like maybe fitness, you might end up devoting a lot of time and by doing that, sacrificing time with important people in your life or with things you might otherwise have set yourself up for a much better future with. So there's always kind of a balancing act happening. You look at people like say Jeff Bezos. I'm from Seattle. You guys maybe might know that. I remember years ago talking like when was this? Mid 90s. I just started junior high, and my father was close friends with another computer guy in Seattle, and he was kind of always bouncing around between jobs. And he mentioned that he just started working for this new company. It was really small still, but they were selling books on the internet, which was such a clever idea, because the internet was so new then, and a lot of people didn't really know what to do with it. It had kind of basic email functionality, so you could send each other messages, which was pretty cool. Made it a lot easier to keep in touch with people that were really far away. In my case, I had family in England and friends at different places in the country, so at that point though, it was still kind of a developing platform. It's like, okay, what do we do with it? I remember just thinking that is such a clever idea, selling books on the internet, and having them delivered to your house. Of course, that company was Amazon, right? And I was so young and just like, oh, that's cool. Never would have imagined what it became. So that's kind of an extreme case where one person had a very simple idea that expanded almost indefinitely. Um, but the main difference there, I think, was that with Jeff Bezos, he did have an extremely long-term plan. If you ever watch any interviews with him, he was he went with books initially because there's just so many of them. I think books are actually, it's one of the largest index kind of product categories in the world. They have the ISBN numbers and things, so there's millions and millions of books out there, and different editions and stuff. But you don't need different colors and sizes and all kinds of infrastructure. So that was his initial step, and so now look where he is. In my case, not on the opposite end of the spectrum so much. It's just kind of much, 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 much way smaller scale. It's like, okay, I just wanted to start a school and kind of improve things immediately. Really a very short-term goal in comparison. So in some ways, we get the immediate benefit of it, but then in other ways, we can kind of paint ourselves into a corner, where it's like, okay, you've reached this, level, this certain degree of success, so to speak, but now you can't really do anything more. You can't really go past this, not without a huge amount of struggle and sacrifice, which is necessary, but I think it should only really be necessary in the beginning. When you hear about these serial entrepreneurs, they're not wetbacking it and like working 30 different jobs. What they've done is they've started one, maybe two endeavors and, excuse me, burned the midnight oil, so to speak, and now they're making enough revenue off of that they can use the capital to start up other endeavors where they can designate and hire people and still be involved, but in a much less kind of demanding way, where you can spend maybe 30 minutes instead of 10 hours, and still get the same results because you have people working for you, and those people are using their time and energy within reasonable limits, just typical workday type of stuff to help move the whole project forward. So that's an awesome place to be. I'm kind of looking forward to a happy middle ground where it's not um, such a grind, and where I'm cultivating a more of a mental ability uh, that is not so time dependent and doesn't require so much kind of, I hesitate to use the word, but it's commitment, right? Like with teaching English, it's a pretty massive commitment. You're talking about selling an hour of your time every week, and then pretty soon it adds up, and it's just the content doesn't really change. And if you get to a certain level of proficiency, the amount you can accomplish in an hour is unbelievable. If you think about these people who run really big companies, or people who are involved in high ticket sales, an hour of their time can be worth millions of dollars. I'm not saying that's what I want to do or that's what I want to be. Not that I would say no to it, but at the same time, you also have to consider how much time and energy people like that have invested in a very focused career path that is basically irreplaceable. You can't really just show up in a position like that. So whether or not there's enough time in my life left to do that remains to be seen. But you can, I think, follow a similar thinking line of thinking, I guess, on a smaller scale, where you think, from now, what can I do that will actually pay dividends in the future, instead of just giving me kind of an a-okay lifestyle, but still have me nailed to the ground in terms of being present on a long-term basis for most of my working day, with a level of reward that is pretty explicitly capped. You can really only make so much teaching English, and it gets to a point where you reach exhaustion. You're just too tired to think straight. It's true with a lot of jobs as well. Back in the States, when I worked in restaurants, I had friends who were cooks and waiters, and they were working like multiple jobs, and they had a nice car and clothes, and they were going out all the time, but they were burning the candle at both ends, and you can't do that forever, unfortunately. Even since coming over here, I've noticed a change in energy levels, really just in the past couple of years, where I feel like, it's almost like that. Like, I'm getting too old for this, So, but I think it's more just you settle into your body more, and I've kind of gained some muscle mass and stuff, and I don't feel quite as light and spry and willing to run all over town for the same, level of reward. Call it selfish, call it what you will, but I think it's really just more a matter of being pragmatic. So now, as I look back on 6 years running this operation, it's been a good experience. There's no substituting experience, and sometimes it takes longer than we would like to really appreciate where we are. But it's good to keep moving forward. So I'm excited about this new job. I'm meeting with my teacher in, what's today, Friday, Japan time, like 5 days. So we've been in touch via Messenger and whatnot. It's going pretty well. I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice next step, and should give me some time to kind of decompress. It's a lot to always be kind of on call with customers and dealing with a lot of stuff and not having any staff, and at the same time, still having this desire to be attaining proficiency in a basically completely unrelated skill. So it's going to be a really good change. I think it's going to be a big load off the shoulders, and hopefully I can just find someone to smoothly take over things, and the parents and students are happy, and it continues to move forward. Although, to be completely honest, once the baton is passed and I've said my farewell, it's not my problem anymore, which is another skill you really need in life. The Japanese call it ki ni shiteru or ki ni natteru, which is kind of like putting your energy into something. And it's an amazingly like helpful and valuable skill to know when not to do that, because it will draw energy from your day and your concentration, your mind and your body, if you're thinking about all these crazy things that you can't control. So it is an important skill to be able to know when it's like, okay, over, time to walk away. Um, that's something I've gotten a bit better at, especially with starting a business. I look back at the things I used to kind of worry about. Sorry, it's a garbage truck. And these days, it's just more of a feeling like, no, thank you. You know, it's not, go F yourself or you're an idiot. It's just more of a very kind of resolute feeling of, no, thank you. I need to do other things right now. Which is really cool. That's probably actually the number one benefit I've gained from starting a business, is the ability to just designate mental energy in a way that is more productive. So anyways, the video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to stop there, and thanks for watching.